Linked lists have all sorts of uses, right? It's a concrete data type, which means that we can use it as the basis of abstract data types, and we're going to do that. It is also real commonly used for dynamic memory allocation and directories of data because they want to be reordered, and being able to insert something in the middle, real useful. The key thing to remember is that anywhere you can use an array, you can use a linked list, and anywhere you can use a linked list, you can use an array. One is almost certainly going to be better than the other. So you don't want to just do this for funsies. But you can, and that is important to remember. Final thoughts and analysis. Final thoughts and analysis. So when do we want to use a linked list? Well, they work really well in situations where an array won't perform well. And when don't arrays perform well? Well, they do great with access, and they do great with appending, but they don't do great when you need to insert or delete at the front of them frequently, because you got to shift everything up. They also don't do well when you have to do a ton of resizes, right? Remember, linked lists are truly dynamically sized. Arrays, not so much. So if you don't know how much data you're going to have, maybe a linked list is the way to go. Additionally, think about the memory. If I need 1 million elements, well, that's going to be 1 million times the size of the data that I'm storing in the array. That means I could need, for instance, in a reference, I might need 4 million bytes. I might need 4 megabytes of memory. And on a small device, I might not have that available. So times when contiguous blocks of memory are hard to come by, that's when arrays don't do so hot, and linked lists are going to be a little more flexible. But linked lists aren't perfect. If we need to get to an arbitrary element in our linked list, it's going to be slow, right? And they eat up more memory. Remember, an array, here's our elements in the array, and we put 5 in there. Well, that's basically just a variable. Whereas in a linked list, yeah, we've got that same variable, but we've got the pointer to the next node and the current node itself. That's all eating up memory. So 1/3 of the memory used by a linked list is actually storing data, whereas functionally 100% of the memory used by an array is for storing data. So if you're able to have that big old block of memory early on, and you're not going to be doing a bunch of insertions and deletions, and you know approximately how much memory you're going to eat up, right? Oh, I'm never going to need more than 250 slots, or I'm never going to need more than 1 million slots, let's say. And I'm going to use most of that memory. I'm going to constantly have somewhere around 750,000 elements in my array. Well, I can get that at the beginning. I can establish it. I'm never going to need to resize. I'm going to need to be able to access all parts of it, but I'm only really going to add to the end. Arrays the way to go. Linked lists are going to consume too much memory. They're going to consume way more memory in a chunk, even though you're going to be able to spread it throughout memory. By the way, that's for a singly linked list. Doubly linked lists are even worse, because now we got to consider this thing, right? And getting to any particular element in the linked list is going to take forever. So remember, it's all about analysis. It's all about design decisions. It's, how am I going to use this thing? If I'm going to use it in a way that is rational to use an array, use an array. If not, if I'm going to use it in a way that's rational to use a linked list, use a linked list. And if either is acceptable, that's fine. Just go, either is acceptable. I'm more comfortable with this one. That's the one I'm going to use. So that's linked lists. Please send along any questions.